Over the years, I've had a lot of clients with chronic fatigue syndrome or CFS. The chronic fatigue syndrome recovery stories are different people, different timelines, different approaches. And the more I observe, the more one thing becomes impossible to ignore. Almost every person who recovered wasn't just healing from fatigue, they were healing from something older, something that had lived in their nervous system long before the exhaustion showed up. And when they finally addressed that, the recovery started to move. So here's something the mainstream conversation around chronic fatigue syndrome rarely says out loud. For a significant number of people, chronic fatigue syndrome isn't just a physical illness, it's a nervous system issue that has been running on high alert for so long, often since childhood, that it has simply run out of fuel. This is what we see in PTSD and complex PTSD too. A nervous system that learned at some point that the world wasn't safe, that it needed to stay vigilant, that rest was a risk it couldn't afford. That kind of chronic activation, that constant low grade or maybe not so low grade threat response, is extraordinarily expensive for the body. It consumes energy at a rate that no amount of sleep can fully replenish. And over time, it can manifest as exactly what CFS looks like: profound, unrelenting exhaustion that doesn't respond to rest the way it should. This isn't a theory. This is nervous system biology, and it changes everything about how recovery needs to be approached. If the root of CFS is a dysregulated nervous system, one shaped by trauma, by years of surviving rather than living, then recovery isn't just about managing symptoms. It's about slowly, carefully teaching your nervous system that it's safe to rest, safe to heal, safe to exist without bracing. And that happens through small steps, repeated, daily, and perfect small steps. Not because small steps are all you're worth or all that you can handle, but because a nervous system that has been in survival mode doesn't respond to big leaps. It responds to consistency, to gentle, repeated experiences of, this is okay, I'm okay, nothing bad is happening now. That's how new patterns form. That's how the baseline slowly, quietly expands. A little more capacity today than yesterday. A slightly wider window of tolerance this week than last. And that's not failure, that's exactly how this works. But here's where it gets tender. Because when you're building new habits, especially when you're doing it from a depleted, trauma shaped nervous system, it's hard. Not hard like inconvenient, hard like it costs something real every single time. And when it's hard, the inner critic shows up. For people with complex PTSD, especially, that voice can be vicious. It's had years of practice. It says things like, you couldn't even do that one small thing. What does that tell you about yourself? And I want to say this as gently and as clearly as I can. That voice is not the truth. That voice is a survival response. It learned to be harsh because harshness once felt like protection. It kept you moving when moving felt impossible. It's not your enemy, but it's not your guide either. The self-judgment that comes up in recovery, the shame when you miss a day, the grief when you crash after a good week, the exhaustion of trying and not seeing results yet, all of that is part of the process. It's not evidence that you're doing it wrong. It's evidence that you're doing something your nervous system has never done before. This is going to feel like struggle. It's supposed to. The people in those recovery stories, they all felt this too, every single one of them. And they kept going anyway. In trauma-informed recovery, keep going doesn't mean push harder. It means stay in relationship with yourself even when it's uncomfortable. It means notice the self-judgment without becoming it. It means return again and again without punishment to the small practices that signal safety to your nervous system. Some days that's a breathing exercise. Some days it's choosing rest without guilt. Some days it's recognizing that you survived something hard and that your body's response to that wasn't weakness, it was intelligence. It kept you here. And now slowly you're teaching it a new way to be. That is recovery, not a straight line, not a performance, a relationship with your body, your history, and your own becoming. If this is landing for you, If you've always sensed that your chronic fatigue syndrome and your trauma history were connected, but you never had a space where both were held at the same time, that's exactly what integrative trauma coaching is built for. I work at the intersection of chronic fatigue and nervous system healing, supporting people who are recovering from CFS with a trauma background, whether that's PTSD, CPTSD, or simply a lifetime of your body learning it wasn't safe to fully rest. We work gently, we work honestly, we don't rush the nervous system, and we don't shame the parts of you that are still learning. There's a link below to book a free discovery call. Come as you are. Whenever that's today, I'd be honored to walk this path with you.